to another edition of Flea Market Fantasy, the world's second greatest Bronze Age era comic book podcast. Joining me as always is new Mike L, Kevin Jank.
I'm here, and we have another Jank in the house.
Yeah, a lot of Janks on this podcast.
Yeah.
What's better than one Jank but two Janks? Introduce the special guest there.
So our special guest this week, making his first appearance on this show, my cousin Pete.
That's me!
About his buddy
Pete.
Green Lantern.
Yeah, Pete, you were on the LCS Hockey Radio Show a couple months ago. I don't know. Could have been a year ago. I have no idea. I lose all track of time.
What is time?
Yeah, but you broke my heart when you said you're a DC Comics fan. That hurt.
That's okay.
Yeah, that hurt.
I have a tendency to break so many.
So the one thing, now you normally, when we got two Janks on the show, I have to refer to my Jank as Kev, but that's just ridiculous, so I'm not going to do that. So, Pete, for the purposes of this podcast, you will be referred to as Pete. Do not be confused when I say Jank, all right?
I never do.
All right. Very good.
He's used to it.
Yeah, this was Jank's pick.
We're going to be doing Green Lantern number 215 from 1987.
Pete, was this in your wheelhouse of DC Comics, Green Lantern?
I do like Green Lantern. I wouldn't say that the older school stuff. I mean, this came out the same year I was born. It actually came out.
Wow. Holy hell. I'm very old. Yeah, when you said old school stuff, I'm like, wait a minute, this is 87. That's pretty new. And then he's like, oh, well, he's born in 87. All right, yeah. Who would be your favorite DC Comics character, Pete?
I think for a while it was the Flash, and I still love the Flash very much so. But Green Lantern, I think it's just the whole mythos of the Green Lantern has kind of like captured my heart. Maybe not so much the Green Lantern himself, but just the mythos. I like the colors. I was a big fan of like Power Rangers or anything that's got colors. And when the Green Lanterns can show me that sweet spectrum of theirs, boy, I love it.
That spectrum, I think, was barely a glint in anyone's eye back in the 80s, but
yeah,
we really
very true.
explored that later on.
Yeah, for me personally, I never trust a guy who wears jewelry. The only exception would be Sammy Davis Jr., of course. You probably don't even know who that is because you were born in 87.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I was born in 87, but I wasn't born stupid. Come on now.
But yeah, Green Lantern. Oh, Underdog as well. Underdog has a
he
secret
took drugs
energy.
out of his pill.
Why did you pick the Green Lantern?
I mean, it was a good excuse to get Pete on the show because I know he loves Green Lantern and can talk about the mythos of it. And we did you and Mike L did a Green Lantern, Green Arrow book before, but we've never done an actual Green Lantern solo book, so.
Yeah, we did do that one Secret Origins book with Green Lantern where he was a racist to his friend. But, yeah, this Green Lantern, he's a very problematic character we'll get into as we go through this issue. A lot of things wrong with the Jeffrey Epstein of the DC Comics world, I guess we could say.
Oh.
Green Lantern
I didn't know about that.
All right.
Oh, maybe Pete doesn't even know about
Yeah, maybe I
met Guy Gardner.
Oh, there's a character in this book called Arisia who he is dating, and it's super creepy. We'll get into it later. But, all right, so let's look at the Green Lantern here. The first Green Lantern was Alan Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
He's very good.
That's true.
He first appeared
I think they tried to make him not even count. Like, he was not part of the Corps, as far as I know.
That
he just
true.
got his powers, like, from just some random lantern, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just from a lantern.
Yeah, he first appeared in All-American Comics issue 16, 1940, and he was created by Martin Nodell and Bill Finger, the old Batman fame. He was a railway engineer who, after a railway crash, found a magic lantern that spoke to him and said it would bring great power.
It's true. That's very true.
Yeah. So the lantern told him to make a ring from the lantern's metal, but he must charge the ring every 24 hours, and it was powerless against wood. It's always
This lantern's very demanding. You have to do all these things for me.
But he used his power ring to fight criminals in Capital City. That's another reason why I don't like DC Comics there, Pete. All their towns are stupid. Capital City.
True.
Oh, okay.
They're all made up and not even like They're all like the most basic thing. Like, this is City Town.
This is Ivy Town or whatever that one was.
I mean, Pokemon cities are named better than the DC cities are named.
You're literally making fun of DC cities saying, oh, this is City Town, when Pokemon literally has the same thing, but you're going to defend them. Pallet Town. What's cooler than a pallet? Just wood that hasn't been nailed. Come on now.
Well, those pellets could have taken out Alan Scott in a second.
That's true.
So that first Green Lantern, he got his own series because he proved popular there in the All-American Comics. I think he appeared in a few of those. Then they gave him his own series. It ran for 38 issues, and it ended in 1949. His final appearance was in All-Star Comics 57, 1951. Then in 1959, DC editor Julius Schwartz reinvented the Green Lantern as a science fiction hero. Now the Green Lantern was Hal Jordan, a test pilot who received his power ring from a dying alien. And Jordan's first appearance was in Showcase 22 in 1959, written by John Broome and drawn by Gil Kane. And after 3 appearances in Showcase, Jordan got his own Green Lantern series in 1960, and it lasted 89 issues until 1972. And then when that series was canceled, Green Lantern and Green Arrow started appearing in backup stories in Flash. So there you go, Pete. Your beloved heroes are together.
Yay.
Flash and Green Lantern. The Green Lantern series was brought back in 1976, picking up with issue 90. Then the series was renamed the Green Lantern Corps from 201 to 223. Tell us about the Green Lantern Corps, Pete.
Well, they're a big old nasty corps. Kind of like the Guardians of the Galaxy, but basically the Guardians of, what is this, the universe, I believe, or something like
Guardians
that.
of the Universe.
Yeah. And they got, was it UO, something like that. When you read it, you see it. That's right. When you read it, who knows how it's actually pronounced, but they're basically the big shots of the universe, and they basically have these guardians that'll defend different sectors within the universe, and those guardians are the color green. Yeah, they just bebop around, and Hal Jordan was he was selected as the Green Guardian or Green Lantern for the Earth sector. So that's what he's all about. But yeah, no, that's their deal. I mean, there's many different stories, but I wouldn't say that's the strongest stories. That's probably why they have to keep getting remade over and over and over again. But
you needed Jeff Johns to give them a zhuzh.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's what did it.
Yeah, do you know how many sectors there are in the universe?
I have no idea.
3,600.
No, I feel like there should be more.
And each sector has 2 lanterns, except for sector 2814, which has 6 lanterns. That must be a rough town.
Yeah.
That must be the Chicago sector.
It's true.
And the Green Lantern Corps were first mentioned in Showcase 22, in 1960 there with Hal Jordan. And they also were created by John Broome and Gil Kane. So in this issue, we deal with, so they're basically like an intergalactic police force for the universe. And
kind of like the Nova Corps, I guess, is the Marvel equivalent.
Yeah, I've heard that comparison. That makes sense.
So in this issue we're reading today, there are a couple other Green Lantern Corps members, and one of them is a fellow named Salakk. Is that how you pronounce it?
Salakk.
Salakk. Salak at the end there. The first one is silent. And his first
kissing.
And his first appearance was Green Lantern 149, 1982, created by Marv Wolfman and Joe Staton. And his homeworld of Sligia.
Sligia. Just 2 G's.
Sligia. And he's a pessimistic loner. Like I have a twin, a Salakk. And Pete, how would you describe Salakk, his physical appearance?
Well, he's got, what would you say his face is? His head's like the shape of,
it's like the containers of Gak back in the day. Maybe,
I would say Gak mixed with like a fleshy diamond. He's got tendrils. His 4 arms, Goro style, but nowhere near that
many arms of
physique.
Yeah, and he's kind of like pink-purple looking.
Yeah, he's very fleshy in the face. He's got tiny mouth syndrome. It's delightful to look at.
And then there's another member here, one of Salakk's buddies, a fellow named Ch'p.
Yeah, Ch'p. Nobody likes Ch'p, but everybody loves Ch'p. I don't know where everybody lies with Ch'p.
I don't know.
C-H''. Yeah, I like Ch'p, I guess. His first appearance was Green Lantern 148, 1982, created by Paul Kupperberg and Tom Newton. And his homeworld is H''LVEN. Halvin?
Everything in Ch'p's world / life is just nothing but apostrophes. And anytime that Ch'p is involved with really anything a part of his world, it's basically impossible to read. So it's probably why most people don't like Ch'p. But then some people like him. Who knows? What do I know?
Well, the apostrophe, or as I like to call it, the uppercase comma,
Oh, there it is.
So do you think that is Halvin, like Alvin and the Chipmunks, Jank? Is that what you think?
I think that's probably a pun there.
There's a fellow named Dr. Ubex.
Wait, we should talk more about Ch'p. Do you guys know what happened to Ch'p later on?
Yeah, I'll get there.
Okay.
But to get to his origin, Dr. Ubex, Ubi apostrophe X, he's like another chipmunk kind of. Yeah, Chip's like a chipmunk, basically, is what we're dealing.
He's basically a rodent. He's somewhere between chipmunk / squirrel. They can't really figure it out, but
depending on who draws him, it seems like he's way more squirrel-like or way more chipmunk-like.
This Dr. Ubex fellow, he's also a rodent-type creature. He tried to take over the world of Halvin. He killed the Green Lantern that was protecting that sector. This Dr. Ubex is a badass. Ch'p led the resistance against Dr. Ubex. But he was defeated and thrown in prison, and he was about to be executed. And a guardian of the universe came to Ch'p and said, hey, would you like to wear this terrible jewelry? And it will give you amazing power, and you'll be able to beat Dr. Ubex. And Chip's like, all right, cool. So he took the ring, he defeated Ubex, and then he joined up to become a Green Lantern. And he was in the same class as Hal Jordan. They went to school together. How about that?
That's nice. He's keeping his buddy around. Probably copied off of all his tests.
Now, this Dr. Ubex, he's also in this issue we're reading today. He and Ch'p became friends then over the years. They were like mortal enemies. But at one point, Ch'p saved Dr. Ubex, and they became chums. So that's nice, I guess. But, Jank, would you like to explain what happened to poor Ch'p?
So apparently, I think it was not excessively long after this story we're reading here. But at one point, he was, he was run over by a yellow tractor. And because it was yellow... It's just, he couldn't do anything. He was powerless to stop it.
That's so sad. Yeah, in 1992, in the story Green Lantern Mosaic, issue 2, he was hit by a yellow, I have truck down, maybe tractor, I don't know. He's hit by a yellow motor vehicle. That's pretty sad, you know?
Yeah, that's not how you want a Green Lantern to go out, but.
If you're going to go out, that better be the way.
Yeah, we mentioned Alan Scott. His ring couldn't work against wood. And the Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, and all these folks, they're powerless against the color yellow, right?
Yeah, that's true. The color of fear.
The color of
some
lemon.
kind of defect, right? In like the power battery or something like that?
Yeah, I think all the lanterns kind of work that way where there's kind of like pluses and minuses depending on the color ring you have. But yeah, the Green Lanterns are pretty vulnerable to the color yellow.
It's like Pokemon. Everyone's got to have their strength and their weakness.
During the Blackest Night story in 2009, Ch'p was resurrected as a Black Lantern.
Sure was.
But then he was killed by Guy Gardner.
Also true.
Yeah. So, Pete, you mentioned they can have different colored rings and everything. Like, does each group of lanterns, do they have special abilities or powers or characteristics? Like a Black Lantern, what is that exactly?
So, I'll explain this. I tried to do this. This is a fun story, but I tried to explain this story when I was completely, like, blackout drunk last Halloween, and boy, I don't think I made sense to anybody, but, so think of the spectrum of lanterns as like a rainbow. It's basically exactly that, if you want to go Roy G. Biv, G being in the center of that word. And that's why most of the time the Green Lanterns are normally more powerful than the rest because they can kind of control their color a little bit better than anybody else. But as soon as you get to the outer sectors of that spectrum, so like red being rage, they just completely lose control.
Oh, I
gotcha. Just completely enraged. Then you go to the other end, which is violet. They're completely engulfed in just compassion and love. So they're just, those are the most powerful forms of emotion, which is what I think it's like the emotion spectrum, I want to say it's called, or something like that. But yeah, so green is like will, rage is red, love is violet, indigo is, I want to say, hope. I can never remember what blue is. Maybe blue's hope. One of them is hope and the other one's love. I don't remember. But then you've got fear, which is your yellow. Orange is chaos, basically on like unbalanced, and there's like only one orange. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, it's green. Well, it kind of falls into that same thing. It is very much greed, but yeah, it's just kind of like the orange ring is like one of the more unstable of rings, which is why there's only one orange ring bearer because it's just way too powerful. and chaotic to deal with. But yeah, it's very interesting, and I love all the lanterns. White is basically life, where black is death, and that's why in the blackest light or darkest night, they basically have the black lanterns coming back to life from the dead. So, and then everybody's just handed rings at that point. Like everybody gets a ring. It's like Oprah, the comic book series.
That shit came back. So you mentioned, like, are there yellow lanterns?
Yeah, Sinestro has the Sinestro core. There's
Sinestro, I remember him. He's kind of like a Green Lantern's villain in all the old Super Friends cartoons and everything, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, he eventually I think he makes himself a yellow ring, but he also hires or recruits more yellow lanterns. Each lantern, well, most of the lanterns' colors have their own, like, I guess, core. They're not all called corps, so some are like tribes, like the Indigo tribe and all that. But yeah, each one of them has like a group. For the most part, there are a few Red Lanterns. Like Guy Gardner becomes a Red Lantern for a little while.
Did he get a new haircut?
No, he still he still rocks that sweet Duke. God, I love Guy Gardner. He's one of my favorites.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's kind of fun. From the stories
He's
I've read.
just so rambunctious. I love him. Yep. He was supposed to actually, so the ring was, the Green Lantern ring when it was out to go find the new Green Lantern. It was actually supposed to go to Guy Gardner, but the only reason it didn't is because Hal Jordan was closer.
Wow. That's so weird. Why were they like, this Guy Gardner, he's the guy that's worthy. This fucking asshole who can't like
haircut.
Yeah. I know. Well, nobody even liked Hal Jordan for a while. That's why they had to like, oh God, what do? We got to bring in somebody different. We'll bring in Jon Stewart. Let's bring in Jon Stewart. The Jon Stewart? No, completely different guy.
A Jon Stewart.
Not related. Yeah. But yeah, Guy Gardner's fantastic. He should have been it from the start. And then Kyle Rayner shows up later. And he's fine too.
And what exactly, this ring of theirs, it can make energy constructs and it can basically do anything at once, right? It can do anything.
Yep. Whatever your imagination basically wants it to do, it'll do it. That's why I think when they made the movie for the Green Lantern, why Ryan Reynolds was probably picked because he's just so zany and crazy. And you would think that he'd be super creative, but in the movie they just like, we don't have the money. We can do some stuff.
We can barely animate his mask.
The Green Lanterns have just all sorts of different like constructs that they can make, and whatever you can think of will just poop out of the ring. But just like you said, even with Alan Scott, after a while the power starts to drain, so they have to recharge the rings with a big old nasty lantern that they carry or something. I'm not exactly sure where they haul that thing. It's usually somewhere.
Do you have to put the ring in the lantern and say the oath?
I was going to bring that up. Do you know the oath, Pete? Can you recite it off the top of your head?
No, I can't. I mean, I probably could about a year or two ago. Yeah, I definitely used to be able to. I really like it.
Blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight.
Keep going.
Yeah, go on.
Keep going.
Shit. They used to do this on Hollywood Babylon all the time. In different, like, wacky voices.
In brightest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light.
I love Green Lantern. Or the oath. It's so good. God, it's so good.
Yeah.
More
superheroes Kev, do need oaths.
Yeah.
Why don't you get that tattooed, Kev? That can be your tattoo.
Then I'll remember them all.
Just have a little picture of you just screaming "Green Lantern's light" on your shoulder or something.
I'm going to get a tattoo of Ch'p.
I seem to recall. No! Yeah, that would be pretty good. I seem to recall a comic book Mike L and I read on here. Maybe it was one of those Christmas with the superhero deals or something. But I think Hal Jordan had his lantern next to his bed, and he like hit it with his punched it and it charged up the ring or whatever.
Yeah, you usually just hold it up to the lantern and then you say your prayer, before you go to bed.
I charge up that ring. So, all right, there's
you have to touch your tongue to it just to make it all official.
All right, so there's one other character in here, a few other characters. There's a lady named Iona Vale. Her first appearance was way back in Green Lantern issue 8, 1961. And she's created by John Broome and Gil Kane. Basically, she's a lady. This all gets very complicated, but this story takes place in the future. And as future society, anytime they have trouble, they summon a Green Lantern from the past to come help them. And whenever the Green Lantern shows up...
I mean, is this a common thing that the Green Lanterns can also time travel?
I swear to God, this has to be like the older stuff because I was not aware of this. So I've read through this comic and then I know Ch'p. I definitely know Ch'p. But when it came to the Salakk character, I've never even heard of him up until this point. So I had to do some research to try to figure it out. But yeah, I mean, you're probably about to go into it. But yeah, he basically goes into the future in which he has a completely different, like a future name, like Pole something.
Pole Manning, I believe.
Manning. I don't know why I forgot that. I forgot the famous quarterback. But yeah, basically he has a completely different future name that he has back in 1987.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of
brainwashed.
But this Iona Vale lady, like way back in Green Lantern 8 when they brought Hal Jordan in, he had the same name, Pole Manning or whatever. And then she just basically exists to be his romantic interest in this world. It's like a way to try and keep him there, I guess. They put him off with a hooker. I don't know. But, so yeah.
Put her on a string.
She's in this issue as well, except now she's romantically involved with Salakk, the giant alien cricket guy, or whatever he looks
Seems
like.
happier than ever.
Yeah. Well, he's got 4 hands. So yeah, she's in this book, and then there's also a character named Arisia.
Oh boy, here we go.
Her first appearance was in Tales of the Green Lantern Corps, issue 1, 1981, created by Len Wein, Mike W. Barr, and Joe Staton. And in this issue, she's Hal Jordan's girlfriend, his romantic interest.
Yeah.
And she looks like a foxy lady in like her 20s, you know? But actually, Arisia was 13 years old.
Oh, no.
And she used her power ring to give herself the body of a 20-some-year-old lady so she could date Hal Jordan.
Oh, the Tom Hanks
situation. Yeah.
Hal Jordan is aware of this. He knows that she is a 13-year-old girl masquerading as like a 23-year-old. And he still says, that's fine. Let's have sex.
Well, I can see why they wanted Guy Gardner instead of Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
Hal Jordan's great.
And apparently the other Lanterns were aware of this too, and they weren't too happy about it. But Hal Jordan says, hey, too bad. And, yeah, he's a creep.
If there's artificially created grass on the field, play ball.
Oh, no. Yeah, this is terrible. Defend this, Pete. What's going on with your Green Lantern? What's going on?
Again, I want a Guy Gardner from the beginning. I said this already. I'm not sitting there like Hal Jordan ending my oath with "Show me Green Lantern's bean." I don't say that. I say, give me Guy Gardner, please.
This is horrific. But who gave this the green light? Yeah, that's a good idea. He's having sex with a 13-year-old girl. This will be great.
Yeah.
It's a
weird time.
It's a wild, wild time. All right, so the creators for this book are Steve Englehart and Ian Gibson. Steve Englehart, we've done a ton of his books on the show there, Jank. Yeah, everyone knows Steve Englehart. But he had quite the run on Green Lantern. I didn't realize this. From 85 to 88, he wrote issues 188 to 223. Pretty lengthy run there. The artist is a fellow named Ian Gibson. He's a British comic book artist. He was born in 1946. His most notable works were the black and white anthology 2000 AD, and he was the main artist on Robo Hunter and the Ballad of Halo Jones.
I mean, I've read that cover to cover like 20 times in my life.
Well, I did when reading up on him. Apparently this Halo Jones, she's like a feminist character, you know, and she's a strong heroine. And then this fellow got in trouble because he made a pinup drawing for a charity event, and he drew her topless, and it caused quite the stir among the Ballad of Halo Jones community. So, yeah. But Jank, he also had a long run on Judge Dredd.
There we go. Yeah.
He drew issues 214, 215, and 216 of Green Lantern. So just 3 issues, and we were lucky enough to get one of them.
Yep, we just happened upon this one.
So there's Pete. Can you think of anything else about Green Lantern we should know before going into this book? That's about it.
I think that's about it. I mean, the best part is that spectrum. Give me that color spectrum. I love it.
Love the color spectrum. All right, so
I guess we talk about how Hal Jordan, went completely heel later on.
Oh, see, I don't know anything. I don't know anything about DC. So go ahead,
yeah.
Fill us in here.
The 90s was a wild time for the old Hal Jordan there. I believe it was during the time that Superman was getting killed. Somehow as some kind of a side effect, his city, where does he live? Coast City? Is that his city?
I believe so.
That sounds about right.
It's on the coast, so it's Coast City. His like whole city got destroyed basically, and he failed to do anything about it. So he was pretty like distraught about it, and like just kind of real bummed out that everyone he knew was dead and all this stuff. So he kind of like I think that's how it started, but didn't he like
he was bummed out about it.
Yeah, he tried.
But why
to,
didn't he do anything to save him? Like why wasn't he?
I think he tried, or maybe he was
playing grab ass
face
with a 13-year-old girl. Is that why?
Yeah, could have been.
Lord.
But yeah, he was, he failed. And so he's tried to like reanimate everyone with the Green Lantern ring, I believe was his first step.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Like that's a perfectly healthy response. And I think the Green Lantern Corps was kind of like, hey, like stop doing this. You're being weird. And so he just started murdering a bunch of them and like taking their rings to make himself more powerful.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Wow, I think he basically
quite a heel turn. Yeah,
wiped out most of the core and like basically became like some big supreme being and made himself insanely powerful and almost tried to destroy the universe at one point until finally somebody stopped him and then he was dead for a while and then he finally came back and they're like no like he was fine. It was this parallax thing, this yellow entity like took him over and it wasn't his fault.
I will say
fight back somehow.
I will say, I feel like, you know how most people, when they make an excuse, like, or, what was this crazy thing that happened in this story? Oh, don't worry, it's all put away because it's magic. It's usually like that in the Green Lanterns, except for that, instead of magic, it's almost always parallax. Like, there's always, like, that's just parallax.
Right,
that parallax.
Did it.
That's exactly what it is. Every single time, it's always parallax.
Hey, Hal Jordan, weren't you having sex with a 13-year-old? That's parallax. Is this parallax like a Phoenix Force situation, or is it like an alien, or like what?
Yeah, he's a big old. He's a yellow. He's basically a yellow lantern, but he's this huge like alien like being, like very powerful. I don't know, entity of sorts, but it's like the most feared yellow lantern of all. But it's always he's just always somewhere and always causing something. But you never know who's behind the scenes until you're like, what is going? Is it parallax? It's gotta be parallax. That's how it is every time.
Keep an eye out for that parallax fella. But Pete, before we look at the book real quick, did you like the Ryan Reynolds movie? You mentioned it earlier. Did you enjoy it?
You know what? I don't hate it. I think most people probably give it a bad rep. I'm also like a weird defender of like not Deadpool. What's that movie? Daredevil. I don't mind Daredevil either.
The Ben Affleck Daredevil?
Yes.
I don't like it.
That's fine. You guys don't have to watch it.
I even tried to rewatch it again like not that long ago, and it's just the plot does not hold together at all. It's just like all of a sudden the cops are coming to arrest the Kingpin, but why? They don't know he's done anything.
He's the Kingpin.
There's no point where they. The hardest part about the Kingpin is trying to get evidence on him to put him away, but they're just like, oh, we're gonna come get him. I don't know why.
They read the comics, and they know he's a bad guy.
But yeah, I don't mind. I mean, it's not a great movie, but I think it's fine. I think he does a good job, or he plays a good Hal Jordan. Now, the real question is, who would play a good Guy Gardner?
Ooh, I believe you know who it is in the next upcoming movie is Nathan Fillion is playing Guy Gardner.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can see that. Honestly, I can only see Nathan Fillion as the Green Lantern, as he voices the Green Lantern on everything.
Oh, I didn't know he
That's
voiced
a weird
the Green
choice
Lantern.
to then make him Guy Gardner instead of Hal Jordan, but yeah.
So, all right, Jank, let's look at this cover. Why don't you describe it for the people?
Oh, it's a beauty.
Well,
a true masterpiece of interspecies erotica. So we get the DC logo up there in the top left corner, just kind of a little circle logo. And they put the actual issue number like off to on the right side in a weird spot. I guess they just had to make the Green Lantern Corps logo bigger. And there was no space, so they just kind of spread those things out. But it's a black background. We got like a space kind of city going on, and dead center, we just got Salakk and this Iona just flat out making out. He's got his hands all over her, like two of his hands just right on her butt. It's pretty great.
Yeah. And again, his head is oddly shaped, and
Yeah.
It looks kind of like an anteater a little bit, like the snout there.
Oh, yeah. Like two anteaters.
Literally sucking her face.
Yeah, she's enjoying it. Whatever. Yeah. She's way into it.
I like that the subtitle thing is Salakk and a Lass.
Yeah.
I like that. That's nice. That's nice for me.
His little
point right there.
His ring is lighting up too. You know, he's excited.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Pete, well, how do you feel about this cover? Would this make you you see this in the store when you're a child? Well, you weren't even an infant. You're a wee tiny baby in '87. Would you have paid money to buy this book?
No.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Pete. If I was a kid going through the comic stand, I'm not getting the one where they're kissing. I want to punch him.
Especially if I was a kid, I'd be like, ew, gross, kissing.
Yeah. But we're an old man like Jank. You know, he's eager for that inter species intergalactic erotica or whatever he called it.
Yeah, I mean, this gives me hope. Like, I'm only slightly more grotesque than Salakk, so if he can get a lady.
There you go. It gives us hope. So we open up the comic book here, and we see a big splash page of Salakk coming right at you. And the title of the book is I Am.
Yeah. It seems like there should have been another, other page that had the first part of that title, but.
Well, it reminds me
I Am.
Do you guys remember, well, you're probably too young, there's a bowler named, I think his name was Pete Weber. Remember Pete Weber, the bowler? He was very dramatic and charismatic fella. But he tried to make bowling cool in like the 90s. And one of his things was he would bowl, and then he'd get real tough to the camera, and he'd stare at the camera and go, "Who do you think you are? I am." And that was great. This reminds me of Pete Weber. If that is
what a weird callback. I hope that is the case.
We got to teach that to our cousin Troy, who loves to bowl. Got to give him some sweet moves.
Like he wore sunglasses and everything. He was a real cool guy, this Pete Weber. And he says, "Who do you think you are? I am." So that's what I'm imagining Salakk is saying right now when he's coming right at us here. I guess, he's in the future at this point. What year is this? Like 5,400 or something? It's way in the future.
It's up there.
So then we get a nice little, like a 2-page spread here of Salakk coming home to see Iona. But now he's mad because he's found out, hey, I'm Salakk the Green Lantern. I'm not Paul Manning, And
I can't throw a spiral.
And this lady here, this Iona, this foxy girl here, she's been brainwashing me. She's been lying to me the whole time. But what does he discover, though, Jank, when he talks to Iona?
It seems like this is not a Sharon Stone in Total Recall situation where she's just been a plant working him the whole time. It seems like, no, she actually believes that she is who she says she is and believes that he is Paul Manning and that they're really in love. And she's just as much a victim as he is.
Yeah, she has no idea what's going on. Now, does anyone know how he was, how he got out of his brainwashing? Like, how did he discover he's the Green Lantern?
They said something about Ch'p did it, I think.
What a guy.
Oh, yeah, because when he comes back, he's all angry with Ch'p and he's a big poop monster.
Good on you, Ch'p. Yeah, but Iona, she has no idea, she's in love with Salakk. She thinks he's Paul Manning, So he's like, he was mad at her, but he's like, oh, wait, she's a victim like me. So he's all sad, and he's trying to
look at that weird lumpy ass he has. Like, who could not be in love with that?
Yeah, are those just stylish pants, or are those actually his hips? I
think they're like samurai.
I don't know. Very pointy.
But he did well for himself with this Iona. She's a looker. Yeah. Look at that.
I mean, come on, you would probably go after him, wouldn't you?
No.
Oh.
The big alien. His head kind of looks like maybe like some sort of underwater crab creature or something. Like a crawfish. A crawfish, maybe.
Something out of Lovecraft for sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I like how he thinks in pictures. Like there's one part where he's imagining Ch'p and Dr. Ubex, and there's little drawings of them in his thought balloons.
I know, I love that. That's great.
I love that even in the thought balloon, Ch'p still has his bow tie. He's still keeping it classy.
Yeah, he's classy.
That's a detail that it's hard to forget. You have to think about that when you think about Ch'p, even though I think this is the only time I've ever seen him with a bow tie.
So, Pete, would you like to break down like the big problem here? This society, this futuristic society, is having a problem with, I guess, chipmunks or something. I don't know. Would you like to break this down?
Oh God, I am not the right person to break something down like this.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jank, would you like to take this? Basically, it seems to be like an Israeli-Palestinian situation.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. These chipmunks have evolved, and now they're a sentient species and stuff, so they want part of the Earth, or just the whole Earth. But there's Earthlings here that are like, no, this is our planet. Like, get the hell out.
But the chipmunks are like, this is our homeland. This is where we were born here. We evolved. We want a part of this world to be ours. And the humans are like, nope, get out of here, you filthy chipmunks.
This is why it's confusing with Ch'p, because Ch'p actually in like the later series, he actually goes back to Earth and he tries to become friends with chipmunks and squirrels, and it actually is upsetting to him because they're not sentient or anthropomorphic, I guess.
I could.
So it makes him very angry and sad and depressed.
That's the story of my life too. I've tried to befriend squirrels and chipmunks my whole life, and they won't give me the time of day.
I have to go kiss a double-headed anteater.
Yeah. Well, big fans. So there's this big political dispute on this planet, and now Salakk, what's his role in all this exactly? I forget. I read this yesterday.
He's trying to mediate a little bit. He's on both sides now. I want you both to win. Yeah. They're like, that's utterly impossible, Green Lantern. No, because I won't lose either. And I do have reinforcements. So he calls in his buddy Hal Jordan, who's pedaling around with the 13-year-old.
That's right.
Fancy airplane.
It is pretty fancy, though. You can't deny that.
Yeah, they summon them to the future. So they I like how they just travel from 1987 to the year, what is it here?
Yeah.
Well, they go 3,724 years in the future.
I think.
Yeah. And it's just like from one panel to the next. Boom, they're there. Yeah. It's like, oh, all right.
It was so easy. And apparently the Green Lantern Corps can remember that the crisis on Infinite Earths happens. And they keep referring to this as post-crisis, which was weird.
Yeah, listen, DC is a train wreck, Pete. I don't know how you keep up with it. Like, just every time we do background research on one of these DC characters, they all have like 6 origins. And,
no.
This is pre-crisis. This is post-crisis. This is post-post-crisis. Yep. This is like, come on, what are we doing?
52.
It is very confusing. Yeah, I mean, it's just a bunch of restarts over and over and over again. One of these days, there's going to be a storyline. People are going to be like, this is it. This is the one. And then you'll be on board. And then I'm going to ask how you're going to be like, oh, God, this is so amazing. I'm like, that's all so.
Maybe.
The problem is every time they reboot it, they feel like they have to change everything. So it's like it's never going to be perfect because they're just going to keep messing it up more.
All right. We're not here. We're here to talk about this.
All right. So Hal Jordan and his teenage bride, they show up in the future, and there's Salakk with his lady, and they're chatting up with this guy. Because these Earthlings, they're on some sort of council, solar council or something, I think they're called. And they're big, like, political bigwigs or whatever. So Hal Jordan's trying to talk to him, and he's like, hey, why don't you just give the little aliens there, like, a little world of their own, You guys control a bunch of planets.
A whole empire.
Yeah. It's like, no, they're stinking chipmunks. We're not giving them anything because we're a bunch of jerks. So, Jank, how do they solve this problem?
Let's see. So they go out. Hal kind of makes like a floating spaceship out of his ring. And then they go and everyone explains the situation to him. And he's like, all right. They're all mad that he's turned against them. But he's like, no, I'm trying to help you guys out.
I guess we should describe Chip's outfit because you did mention the bow tie, but he's also wearing overalls.
Yeah.
With the bow tie.
That's something he normally is in, I feel like.
It's an unusual look. Bow tie and overalls. They don't usually go.
So it seems like most of the Green Lantern's core, I mean, unless you're like into the newer stuff, but at least back then, they had like a specific something that would make them or their outfit unique in some way. Even Guy Gardner, I mean, minus that sweet hairdo, he had that weird like collared vest. I think you could probably say.
Yeah, that's right.
Vest. It's kind of like a double-breasted vest, if I'm remembering properly. Like
it
right?
Is, yeah, kind of. Yeah, very close to it. Yeah. And then even Kyle Rayner had like a weird like white like a weird white stripe thing kind of going on.
I don't know this Kyle Rayner fella. I know Jon Stewart from the cartoons. Yeah. I know that fella. But I know Guy Gardner. Who's this Kyle? What does he look like?
It's like the ring probably it went to Hal Jordan. It wanted to go to Guy Gardner, but it should have gone to Kyle Rayner. Apparently, he's more willpower than anybody else. And the human race is known to have like the greatest will or whatever, and that's why in the hands of like Hal Jordan, the ring is usually more powerful than most of the other Green Lanterns. But Kyle Rayner is like the one if you're going to classify him as a character, and he wore the white ring and was for a long time the only person who can actually wear the white ring. He's actually the only being in the universe to wear all of the rings all at once, all colors of the rings all at once, and still live to tell the tale. But yeah, he's this, he's just the one. He's like the golden child.
He was the guy who came after Hal Jordan went nuts and murdered everyone and died. They needed a new Green Lantern, so he got chosen. Yeah. And he basically looks kind of like Hal Jordan, but with black hair.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Googling him.
He's got a cooler mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a bigger mask, right? I'm looking at it now. It's like.
Yeah, it's bigger, but it's got cool edgy things. Cool, like, edgy things.
I suppose. All right. So
I believe he is the one, if you've ever heard of the trope of women in refrigerators, I believe that technically refers to him. Because there was an issue where he found his girlfriend like murdered and stuffed in a refrigerator.
But he didn't do it, right? He didn't.
No.
Hal Jordan didn't do it when he found out the girl was older than 13, did he? Because that would be terrible.
No, all parallax.
All right. That's okay. All right, so Hal Jordan is trying to mediate this dispute as well, and he's trying to talk to both sides, and no, they can't come to any agreements. So Ch'p makes a bold decision here. He sides with the chipmunks against the Green Lantern.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's smart.
Is it? I don't know.
No. He's just
I mean, squirrel. This is all in the future. Yeah, this has nothing to do with you at this point. This ain't... You're going back to 1987. What do you care?
Yeah, because he's like, I'm so lonely. I miss my people, and these people were kind of like me. These little chipmunks, they remind me of my people back on Halvin or whatever. And he's like, I got to support them. And Dr. Ubex. Yeah, Dr. Ubex is the guy who evolved all these little chipmunks. And, he and Dr. Ubex are kind of buddies nowadays. So he's like, I got to side with them on this. And he says, you know how we should settle this? Why don't me and Dr. Ubex, because I got this here power ring, and Ubex has a stick. And we will fight you two Green Lanterns, Salakk and Hal Jordan. Even though we're friends, we're going to fight. And whoever wins, they'll get to decide what happens. I mean, it sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I like it.
I mean, at least we got to see the battle, unlike that Dino Riders issue where they're just like, we're going to have a laser sword fight, and then they just didn't.
Isn't really a battle, though, because, like, the whole time, Chip's just running around going, don't hurt anybody, don't hurt anybody. Come on, Ch'p, you're either in or you're out. You can't be half a gangster. Let's go, Ch'p.
Half measure.
A full smile.
But he's like, oh, don't hurt Salakk. Yeah, this Dr. Ubex, he's got a stick, but it's a super powerful stick. And apparently do a lot of things. So, Jank, what are your highlights of the battle here? They're just shooting energy things, and I don't know.
Yeah, making it weird energy constructs.
I think
somehow block their beams, I guess.
Yeah, at one point, Ch'p hits somebody with a giant acorn out of energy.
Yeah. He traps Salakk inside the top part of the acorn and the bottom part of the acorn, like sandwiches them in between it. And then Hal Jordan, Salakk,
this is so dumb.
They give themselves giant green boots.
Just on one foot. On one foot.
Yep.
It's supposed to have been the height of Mario Brothers. They're just like, yep, we're just going to jump on him.
And they like jumped next to Dr. Ubex, so they caused like a lance, like an earthquake. And all the rocks and dirt and everything piles up on Dr. Ubex. And Ch'p thinks they killed him. So, because just a stick is sticking out of the ground there. And Ch'p digs him out. And he's like, oh my God, Dr. Ubex, he's dead. And like, no one else seems to care. They're like, all right, lock him in a safe. So they like Salakk throws a bag over him, and then they throw him into a Green Lantern safe.
I did like that when they made the construct of the bag, they put the dollar sign up.
Yeah.
Like, who's that for?
That's so dumb.
It's all about the details. I mean, he thinks about bow ties on Ch'p and dollar signs on bags.
Is this the kind of adventures Green Lantern usually gets in there, Pete? This kind of stuff?
Yeah, most likely. I mean, This is probably the highest of his highs. I mean, did you see the one boot he had? Does it get better? No.
One giant comic boot. That's great. All right, so
you know
Green
what they say
Lantern.
about a guy with a giant boot. Half of his dick is also big.
So the Green Lanterns, they win the battle there. You know, Ch'p and Dr. Ubex are locked in a safe where I'm sure they'll suffocate to death. And they fly down and they're like, all right, Solar Council, we won, so we get to decide what's going to happen. You're going to give the chipmunks their own planet. And the Solar Council guy goes, hey, what are you talking about? We're not going to agree to that. And he says, hey, we won the battle. We get to do what we want because I won, so I get to decide. And then Hal Jordan tells the guy, hey, remember, you owe me one. And then the council guy goes, okay, you're right. Why didn't he just say that to begin with, way back in the beginning? Why didn't he just say, hey, Solar Council, you owe me one?
The council guy was going to agree with it in the first place, but then Ubik was the one who was like, no, we don't want this. Like, I think the Solar guy was pretty much on board.
So they let him out of the safe there. Look at Ch'p and Dr. Ubex. They both survive. They come out of the safe. But Salakk's got a bruised arm.
Yeah, a sling for his busted up arm. Good thing he still has 3 of them, though.
Yeah. And now we get a heart-wrenching scene because Salakk, his best buddy, is Ch'p. But now he's like, hey, Ch'p, you know what? You're dead to me. You chose those little rodents you went against the course here. You're a Green Lantern. You should always be a Green Lantern.
You're out of the Uso family.
Yeah, you're out. Hit the bricks. Go spit, Ch'p. Never want to see you again. And Chip's like, come on, man. It's no big thing. No. Salakk is very upset about this.
Yeah, and he's a stickler for the rules.
Yeah. And so Ch'p is like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to go back and try and get that lady who I used to, be in love with back in the day. And Arissa's like, yeah, but that lady's with someone else now.
Yeah, like I guess I read something that I think that was a pre-crisis thing, like he had a wife. But then after the crisis, the timeline changed, and now he had been supposedly killed in an accident like 15 years ago. So his wife, married his best friend instead.
Yeah.
So he's going to I'm going to go find her and try to break up that marriage, I guess.
Yeah, because Arissa says, no, she's with someone else now. And he's like, I don't care. I want to go be an adulterer.
Yeah. Sorry, this was started his
Hal's banging a 13-year-old.
Yeah,
why can't I break up a marriage?
This whole Green Lantern. These are heroes? What's going on here? I don't know what's happening.
They're just a weird sex cult, I think.
So like a cartoon sex cult.
So then Salakk, he's got a sex slave here in Iona. She's brainwashed into loving Salakk. But he's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go back to the Green Lanterns to 1987. So too bad, Iona. I'm out of here. And Iona starts crying. And Salakk's like, man, she's pretty foxy. All right, I'm staying here. So he stays.
I'll stay in the future. Why not?
And keep having sex with this brainwashed lady who doesn't even know my name. But hey, she's legal at least. Better than you, Jordan.
It's legal on that planet.
So Hal Jordan, Arisia, and Ch'p, they go back to 1987. And boom, off they go. And when they get home, Chip's like, all right, how about this? When I get back to my planet of Halvin, when I break up that marriage, then I'll send the ring back to you, Hal Jordan. So, because I'm out of it. I'm no longer a Green Lantern because I betrayed you. And Hal Jordan says, don't worry about it, Ch'p.
Yeah, Salakk's not here.
Yeah.
He can't break that rule.
What does he know? He's 3,000 years in the future. Who cares?
And balls deep in an alien lady.
So many balls.
So Chip's like, all right, I'll keep the ring, I guess. It'll be easier breaking up that marriage if I had a ring. All right, see you guys later. So Ch'p flies away.
We get a very weird ending panel.
Yeah, Hal Jordan and Arisia go inside the Green Lantern headquarters, which is quite the architectural marvel. Who do they find in there, Jank?
Kilowog.
Who the hell is that?
He's one of the coolest. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the strong Green Lantern.
He kind of looks like a bulldog, right? Or something, kind of.
Like a hippo bulldog, maybe?
Yeah, probably. That's a good description, yeah.
But he's a big muscular dude, though. So, they come in, and what happens here, Jank?
He says, hey, you poozers, I just got back from Nicaragua. Let me tell you how complicated that place is. Like,
that's the ending line.
Nicaragua? It seems like that's what happens in the next issue, so that's just a non sequitur, like, whoa, Nicaragua.
I think it may have tried to be a joke, because Hal and Arisia came from this place, so, all the political shenanigans of the chipmunks and those other people, it was crazy, it was madness, And then that guy says, "Oh, you should have seen where I just came from. It's nuts." But Hal Jordan and Arisia, no, it's way worse. And also, I think in '87 wasn't like stuff going on in Nicaragua, I believe.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, the joke didn't really land in 2023.
Not so much.
It landed for me, guys. That was the best part of the entire comic for me, was this last line from Kilowog. I was hoping that there was going to be so much laughter, but then Kevin cited it, and I was like waiting for maybe just a chuckle, but I was the only one laughing. It's hysterical.
Pete's going to try to find that mailbox from that Keanu Reeves movie so that it can send a letter to DC in 1987 and have them publish how much you love that joke.
Yeah, sure, Steve Englehart will appreciate it. So, Pete, what'd you think of Green Lantern 215? How'd you feel about the writing here? Let's start there with Steve Englehart's work.
It's...
You can say it's terrible. Go ahead. Just say it's terrible. It's fine.
It's not... Did you guys read the last line? I mean, the writing is fine. I wouldn't say it's great. No, I definitely would. I would put it below average, but I think the storyline's pretty jumbled up.
Yeah.
This issue is just a mess, to be honest with you. I don't even know why we read this one. I feel like Kevin saw this cover and said, "Yeah."
He wanted that interspecies, intergalactic erotica, but I liked the stuff. I guess with Salakk being brainwashed and Iona and whatever like that. That's kind of interesting, I guess. But the whole plot with the chipmunks and the earthlings, again, it could have been solved easily if Hal Jordan just said, "You owe me one" right from the start, and then none of that other stuff had to happen. None of it. I don't know. It seemed like that fight was just forced in there to try and get some action into the book, and it really was corny and big giant boots.
I mean, the battle's fine. That's just what the
giant boots. Come on.
Yeah, you gotta get weird with it. That was creative.
That's what the Green Lantern does.
That's why I hate the Green Lantern, I guess. Giant boots.
When you're given the ring, you can create whatever you want. You can have two boots if you want.
It's going to be an Oscar cutout. All green.
An Oscar cutout. But, Jank, you seem to have liked this much more than me.
I mean, I had a good time. For as complicated as this was, I never was like lost. I was following everything that was happening. I got why everyone was mad and why Salakk was mad and, you know, what's going on with Ch'p. So I followed the whole thing. So I thought it was well laid out. They recapped things pretty well to get you up to speed, I thought. I liked it.
I want to like Ch'p, you know, because Chip's cool. He's a chipmunk / squirrel in overalls and a bow tie. But
a lot of people want to like Ch'p.
When you look back at this, he's kind of a jerk. You know, they
kind of are all jerks. Interesting.
Like, you know, he stabbed his Green Lantern fellows in the back, and then he's all wishy-washy during the fight. Then he was like whining at the end there. Now he's going to try and break up a marriage. What is going on?
It's a free pass. You can still be in the Corps, whatever.
Yeah. No, I feel bad. I feel bad for Ch'p because especially, you know, going through the whole, 15 years of basically, or 15 years later, you've got, it's just like everything he's ever known is basically gone. His wife is completely like, well, it's not his wife anymore. So I feel bad for Ch'p. So I can
kind of like the Spawn story. Todd McFarlane, Ch'p.
For Ch'p. And also, it's also very sad to know that somewhere out there, there's a yellow truck with his name on it. You know?
Yeah.
That is true.
For Ch'p. All right. So the artist theory. Oh, go ahead.
You know who was driving that? You know who was driving that yellow truck?
I'm afraid to ask.
Art?
It was Parallax, guys.
Oh,
of course.
What a jerk.
It was right under my nose the whole time.
So the art here, what was his name? Ian Gibson, right? And I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. There's some really cool panels, I think.
Really cool close-up of Hal Jordan that looked really good.
Yeah, he drew Iona, Foxy, and stuff, and I thought he has a pretty cool little style going on there.
Yeah, I would say the scan of this book is kind of terrible. Like, it doesn't look great. A lot of the things were kind of very faded, but other than that, yeah, I thought the art was pretty solid. I mean, I've definitely seen pictures of Ch'p where he looks a lot cooler and more like realistic. But,
I guess,
you know, this is fun and kind of cartoony. I liked it.
So he's a heavy bottom Ch'p. This is a weirder version of Ch'p that I think I've seen because he's definitely more heavy in the that dumper area.
You're body shaming Ch'p? What is that?
Just on the lower, his upper half is delightful, is what I meant to say.
Got
That
a
lower
six
half
pack
has something.
Do you think they created Ch'p to try and cash in on that Rocket Raccoon craze that was going on over at Marvel?
I would probably say yes. I mean, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you create a Ch'p? Was anybody crazing over
that was
Rocket
so
Raccoon,
successful?
though?
Yeah, there was like a 4-issue limited series. That was about it.
Hey, we reviewed the limited series on the show there, Pete, and there was some crazy otter porn in that issue. You want to go back and look at that?
Mike Dell loved it.
It's a shame that I missed that episode.
Yeah, I've never encountered this Ian Gibson fella in anything else, but yeah, I like his stuff here.
Perfectly serviceable. I got no complaints. He does a giant boot.
Yeah.
That is a good boot.
I like the art way better than the writing here.
Ooh.
Pete, what do you think? 1 out of 10 for Green Lantern issue 215.
I'll give it a 5. It's right there in the middle of the road. Not gonna say it's bad, but I also don't think it's gonna be memorable. I mean, this conversation's memorable. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
I mean, if I just read this, I'd be like, wow, this is just a conflict with squirrels and
I'll say, yeah, this whole issue is weird.
You're selling me on.
I didn't like this at all. Jank, what do you think? 1 out of 10?
I'm gonna give it higher than Pete, and definitely it sounds like higher than you. Yeah. I'm gonna give it a 7.
Wow.
I had a good time. I'm gonna put this on the right side of history. I really enjoyed this. I don't know why. Yeah. I like that they tried. It was like a classic kind of sci-fi setup with these two alien races fighting over a planet, and they didn't try to like make it too political. Like nowadays, they would just put one of the like groups in like red hats and stuff like that, and really try to make it like hammer it home like the real life comparisons. But this was just kind of a good classic sci-fi story, so I liked it.
In honor of Ch'p, I'll give it a 4. I'll go as high as 4. Because I am a sucker for a chipmunk / squirrel in overalls and a bow tie. And I like the art.
Time. He's getting hit by a tractor soon. So
I think that Salakk fella, he's pretty interesting, you know, and because he looks like he's getting foxy ladies, so he's pretty cool. But 4 out of 10, I would say tops.
Wow.
I like that Salakk's thing, like his special thing for his uniform is looking like a drum major from like a high school marching band.
It works. The ladies love him.
Can't get it now.
All right. Well, before we say goodbye to Pete, I guess we should say what we're doing next week on here. You know, we've been doing the show for like 4 years. At least I have. Jank's been much shorter than that. But and the whole entire time, I've picked 2 issues from DC Comics.
Ooh.
Because I don't I don't like DC.
Special occasion.
But in honor of Pete, I decided I'll pick another DC comic for next week.
Ooh.
We're going to go 1985, Blue Devil, issue 9.
No idea what that is.
Yeah, there's no silence. Deafening silence from the crowd. Pete,
Cricket.
Nothing for Blue Devil? I thought you were going to erupt in applause when I said Blue Devil.
Nobody erupts for Blue. I don't even know. I think I know who Blue Devil is. God, that's such a weird pull, though. Hold on, let me see. Let me verify.
Yeah, no one really knows who Blue Devil is, but I remember we mentioned it years ago on the show, and I didn't know anything about it. Like Mike L mentioned it, so I'm like, all right, let's look through. A lot of DC characters are named for colors. Like you have Black Canary, Green Lantern, Green Arrow.
Flash.
I almost picked Black Orchid, which is an old book from this a lady super. Oh, we'll probably get to her eventually.
I have no idea who this is.
We'll learn all about them next week here on this show. We're doing issue 9 again.
Interesting look, that's for sure.
Yeah, he looks like a devil.
Yeah, I've never seen this guy ever. It's so weird.
Oh. I think I didn't do a whole bunch of research on him yet, but I believe his backstory is he worked in the movie industry or something, and he was playing, that's a costume, a Blue Devil costume, and somehow he got cursed, and he can't take the costume off. So next week it'll be Blue Devil. Well, thank you, Pete. Thanks for making time for us. We appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me on. It's great stuff.
We forgot to say at the beginning of the show, if you're listening to us on YouTube, like and subscribe. Jank, we're up to 67 subscribers.
We'll hit 100 by the end of the decade.
So anyway, thanks again to Pete. And until next week, don't get any jank on you.